Guys, welcome back to the channel. Wow, it's been a minute. And I'm sure everyone has been wondering, where is she? Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months, but I feel that I am in the space, in the right mental space, emotional space, spiritual space to get back onto this journey and to share and to just give a little bit more of myself, open up a bit more of myself so everyone can just, get to know what are my thoughts, what are my desires, where am I going, where am I headed, what is all of this about? Before we go anywhere, please like and subscribe. Also turn on the notifications button so you can get notifications as soon as I release any new videos. So thank you so much for watching. Today I'm not gonna go too in-depth with a lot of detail. I actually had to say to myself, you are recording this video no matter what, you're not gonna do anything, go anywhere. I just woke up, I cleaned out my closet, I'll explain why, and I said, you know what, we're not going anywhere without recording a video. So basically I'm just going to take a few moments to just share what I'd like to achieve on this journey, and how you guys will benefit from joining in on this ride with me. So for those who don't formally know me, my name is Matshepa Sioka. I am turning 23 this month. Yay! So it is my birthday month. Yes, it's my birthday month, and I have so much that I'm excited for in this month, so much I'm hoping to achieve, so much that I'm just hoping is going to manifest in my life, a lot of beautiful things. So yeah, I am turning 23 years and I am currently a young entrepreneur. Yes. So I run an events company, an events coordination company. I also run an NPO which focuses on social ills in society, particularly pertaining towards young people. So I'm very passionate about those things. Other than that, I study psychology. Yes, I'm a psychology student. I've been at it. But I'll share a bit more on that in this video. So yeah, my journey started, I'll say, well, it started my entire life. But I'll just highlight a lot of pivotal moments in my life that kind of led me to where I'm at today. So I matriculated in 2014 and enrolled at the University of Cape Town. It was, first of all, I think I had worked so hard to get there. So when I got there, it was really all about, make sure you are getting that degree. And throughout the year, I hadn't realized that I was actually starting to get depressed. And because when I initially left home, there were things that I had said, I'm leaving because I just don't want to have to deal with a certain issue, which I'll talk about a bit later. And throughout that year, I started getting a bit depressed because I was alone most of the time. I wouldn't talk to people around me. I would, it was literally just class, gym, my room, and that was it. And in September of that year, I felt very, very ill. I was in and out of hospital, and my mom flew down to Cape Town till they as in her and the doctors decided that nope, it's best for me to deregister, come back home, and gather myself. It was the hardest thing I think I ever had to do. It's the hardest thing I ever had to go through, because I had to, it felt, in that moment, it felt like I was packing up my life into, my suitcases, my dreams. I remember when we were at the airport and I was like, oh my goodness, this is my dreams. I've just packed in here and I'm all the way, I'm going, So it was very, very difficult for me in that moment to accept that this is what had happened, this is how things are. Anyway, I came back home, so I spent the rest of that year just, you know, gathering myself and just getting back to a good place, trying to get back to a good place. 2016 came and enrolled at the University of Pretoria. Luckily I got space. It was quite late, but I got space. And yeah, so there I was, first year, excited. I was repeating the first year again. I didn't really get credited for, I think I got credited for 1 or 2 modules, but I had to repeat everything again, which I was fine with at the time. So I did everything. I'd get sick here and there, but it wasn't that bad. So when I say sick, I would suffer from panic disorder. So I had a lot of anxiety, panic disorder. So I'd start getting, you know, hyperventilating, all the symptoms one experiences with anxiety. So but 2016 was relatively a fair year. 2017 came, and you know, here's my second year. I'm excited, and I started to get more and more ill, you know. So the doctors had to kind of run more tests to see what is actually going on, because we're all saying panic disorder, but the symptoms are relatively a bit more extreme. And the doctor, the psychiatrist who was assigned to me, ran more tests and found that I choose to say had temporal lobe epilepsy. So what that is essentially is that you kind of get partial seizures. You know, they present themselves like a panic disorder, but it is a little bit more on the deeper side. So I had to start taking treatment. I had to, you know, take treatment for depression as well. He diagnosed me with major depressive disorder in the same breath as well. So it was a lot. So that year 2017, I would go in and out of school, you know, spend in and out, or months in hospital and out, and it was just all over the place. In August of that year, I had a major breakdown, and my sick note was dated 31 December 2017. So that meant I had to deregister, I had to go back home. It was difficult. It was very, very difficult. I will say for me, I think my heart really got broken. My heart got broken by the fact that I grew up without the love from my father, the love that I've always wanted from my dad. My father was never present in my life. He had rejected us as in my mom and I, from the onset, and it was very, very difficult to grow up yearning for that kind of love as a young girl, as a young child, and not being able to get it. It was a very difficult experience for me. It was something that I couldn't, my heart just couldn't handle it. And I think that's why things got to a point where I started to get physically sick, because of, you know, my emotional needs not being fed, or my emotional place not being good enough. 2018 came, and 2018 was a fairly decent year. That year I decided, no, I'd rather take a gap year. Luckily I got a job in the same year, so that kind of helped me with a lot of things. And 2019 came, and I registered again, and yeah, I registered with UNISA this time. So I'm completing my psychology degree, undergrad. But yeah, I think it's been a challenging journey of patience, accepting that I'm gonna have to be very patient in this journey. I didn't not attend school because I didn't want to, but because the situation just didn't allow. So yeah, that's a bit of like a very rough overview of the past 4-5 years of my life that I feel have made a very huge impact on who I've become and how I see life and the things that I've gone through, you know. So throughout my journey with the videos, I will be talking about, like, I'll go deeper into the moments. I'll talk about very sensitive things that have happened to me. I'll talk about things that have helped me grow, things that I'm still dealing with. But the main purpose of this video, actually, obviously, yes, I did highlight, you know, the umbrella of my life. But the purpose of this video was because I had decided that, you know what, going forward, especially I want to start this month at least to just really tap into my femininity, and over and above that, really dig deeper into loving myself. I think sometimes we say it so much, but we never, you know, have so much conviction of it. I want to understand entirely what it's about. I want to fall into that kind of love I would have, or a love I have for myself. Over and above that, actually, I think the biggest thing of all would be for me to feel God's love and presence again. You know, I will openly say that yes, I am quite a spiritual person, but I've had moments, and quite recently, moments which have made me feel like, you know, God, you know, where are you? Do you love me? You know? And yes, we obviously all know that God does love us and he cares for us greatly so, but I think sometimes, you know, life can knock you down, knock you really, really hard, and you start to wonder, you know, you not even wonder, it's a thing of you don't feel it. And I think for me, I've just said going forward, especially I want to start this month to saying yes to falling into God's presence, you know, falling into God's love and feeling it, you know, being carried by it, being lifted by it. You know, I know it's there, but I think I want to tap into that energy. So basically how I plan on going on this journey would be to do certain things which I feel would kind of help me. I think it's so important that when you say you want change, you need to be intentional about it, and you do need to have some sort of plan or strategy in place so that you can achieve that which you desire to achieve. So yes, I do want a fresh start, yes, and I do want to, you know, like I said, fall into that deep love for myself, that deep love that God has for me, God's presence, and just be surrounded by all of that energy. So I've decided to do a couple of things, and I hope that you know, you guys can also be inspired to be very practical about the things that you'd like to change. If there's anything I know, it's that big transformations require big sacrifices. Sometime last year, I woke up and I went and shaved my entire hair off because for me at the time, I needed to transform, something in me needed to change, and I knew that I needed to do something symbolic at the time that would help me to kind of remember, like every time I see my hair growing back on, I see that, okay, change is happening, you know, and I cannot regress to where I previously was. So I do hope that you're inspired as well to kind of, you know, write things down and, you know, be intentional about your change. So the first thing I've decided to do is obviously identify the areas in my life that I need to work on, you know. So because I think sometimes we so quick to want to change, but how do you change something that you're not aware of? So it's so important to be aware of the things that you're saying you want to change. And for me, it would definitely be, you know, identifying it. I know that there's times where I hear and feel the Spirit of God telling me, you know, not to do something, but because I think, you know, no, God, I can convince myself into doing it, even though my spirit is not okay with it. You know, I just fall into that space, you know, and at the end of the day, the consequences that come with it, you're like, oh goodness, you know, I knew I shouldn't have, but I kind of just went with it. So that for me is definitely something that I know I need to work on amongst all the other things, kind of, you know, listening to the voice of God, you know, listening to the voice of guidance, because we always pray for wisdom and spiritual guidance, but when it's the pivotal moments, how open are we to obeying, you know, how spiritually strong are we to obey what the Spirit tells us to do or not to do? Okay, so I think then the second thing would be, how does this change look like to you? Now, the first thing, obviously, you've identified, you know, you're aware of what is the area that you need to change. So the second step is sort of like, you know, sitting back and looking at where you feel you need to be in whatever aspect of your life. For example, let's take weight loss. You know, somebody might say that they've identified that they eat or they're an emotional eater, or they don't work out or whatever, and now the next step would kind of like say, set the goal, you know, like where do you want to go? I want to be 30 kilograms lighter in 6 months, for example. So kind of see where it is that you're headed to, and then that will kind of, you know, shape how it will shape the how, you know. So you're saying, where am I going? What does this change look like? Then I believe that step number 3, or the third, you know, the third thing to do would then be to identify practical methods to get to this place. You know, what are the practical things that you can do to kind of move from point A to point Z? You know, what do you need to do on a daily basis? What are the changes that you need to make? What are the, you know, what are some of the things that you need to adjust in your life? You know, what are the little details that you somehow usually miss that you need to kind of, you know, work on every day? Remember, it takes 21 days to build a habit and 90 days to maintain it, to actually build the lifestyle from that habit. So for me, I mean, I've identified a few things that I'd like to do. For example, sorry guys, I have problems. I had a T8 injury, so it's an injury to my back, so my back tends to like tense up sometimes. Anyway, so for me, I looked at stuff like, on a daily basis, I'm going to take about 30 minutes before I wake up, and this is a challenge I got from one of the seminars I had previously attended. So I'll take 30 minutes before I usually wake up, and to take that time for myself, you know, listen to a podcast, spend time in the presence of God, kind of set the tone and the mood of how I want my day to go out, go. And, you know, read the word, you know, just really pour into myself, so that when I go out into the world, any other thing that comes to me, you know, sometimes, you know, I think I'll be able to be in the power to kind of decide what is penetrating into me and what is not, what is just bouncing off of me, because I have already poured into myself. So my spirit stays awake throughout the day, because I'm able to, you know, to kind of discern anything that I should be allowing in and anything that I shouldn't. So I think for me, I have decided that it would be very, very important to you know, take time for myself in the morning, you know, pray, read the Bible, you know, podcasts, etc. So that's a very practical way I've identified. Another way I've decided, like I mentioned earlier on, that I've cleaned out my closet. Yes, so I literally walked in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, all of this clutter has got to go. So I took out everything and I cleaned and I rearrange my shoes, my bags, and I, you know, move some of the things out so I can create space. It's very important as well, just a side note, that when you want to make change, you do need to create space for that change. You need to be ready for that change. Remember, God blesses what you prepare for. I heard this in a Pastor Michael Todd sermon. God blesses what you prepare for. So even with change, prepare for it. And that's why I said, okay, let me make room in my closet. You know, I'm going to make that my sanctuary. I'm going to make that the place that I can go to or go into and really just be in the space, in the safe space, in the safe zone that I need to be, you know, to feel God's love and God's presence. I'm not saying I can't feel it anywhere else, but I think, you know, that's the place that I've chosen I want to really just fall into. So I'm gonna actually go out now and buy a few things, but I want to put up, I'll also show as time goes on, I'll take a video of how it's turned out. Yes. So I want to put like a self-love wall, and this wall will just basically, you know, have my prayers, my daily affirmations. I'm actually so excited. Can't wait, you know, make my affirmations, you know, put pictures, anything that I feel is important and will create the energy that I'm looking for, is what is the purpose of me, you know, making that space in my closet. So that's another practical way that I've identified to sort of bring about the change I want. I'll say another way is also kind of choosing, you know, the voices that I'm listening to. You know, this includes, who am I running to for advice or for counsel? You know, what am I listening to on a daily basis? What kind of music am I listening to? What kind of videos, motivational videos, or just videos am I listening to? I think that's so important, because sometimes without even realizing it, so many things come and they kind of they damage our spirits without even realizing it. You know, they infiltrate our spirits without us realizing, in a negative way, without us even realizing it. So it's so important to be aware of where what are you listening to, what voices are you listening to, you know, so that you can also kind of be able to discern if something is from a good place or a bad place. And I'll say another thing for me, probably the last or one of the most important things, is to be kind to yourself in the journey. You know, be kind to yourself in this process, because I know for me, I am probably my worst critic. I am honestly my worst critic, because I tend to be so hard on myself, even in moments where, you know, I do need to be kinder to me. Realize that this is a journey, you know, it's not an overnight thing. It's something that I'm gonna have to constantly work on. It's like a muscle that I need to train, you know. So it's so important that even in that, I have to be, you know, kinder to me, you know, in order to get the love that I desire, or feel the love that I have for myself. I do need to be kinder to me and understand that I will make mistakes, you know, along the way. I will lose focus along the way, but I'm learning. I'm human and I'm learning, you know. So I think it's so important for us to really constantly remember to be kinder to ourselves, you know, to celebrate the wins, you know. As much as when we beat ourselves up when we do something that is off, let's celebrate ourselves when we actually win. Let's rejoice, let's be glad. So I think for me, that's something I feel, or I've identified as being quite important in this journey, you know, to journey to bring about change that you require, to loving yourself more, to being in the presence more. It's to actually be kinder to yourself. Realize that you're human. You're only, you know, you're going through this, and it's a life, it's a journey, it's a process. Okay guys, so that's it for today's video. I know it is a bit long, but I do hope that you've enjoyed the content. Like I said, it's going to be a crazy but amazing journey. It's going to be a journey where I myself find healing, and I do hope that you guys will be excited to go on this journey with me. Again, please like and subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends to tell your friends to tell your friends about it, and I promise you that it will be nothing short of amazing. You know, it's going to bring about healing, it's going to bring about discernment, is going to bring about joy. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.